Hello YouTube, this is John Adams making a video for Death to GMO. Today I wanted to discuss why being a vegan is actually unnatural. So it seems that this is some type of fad coming along in the 21st century. For some reason, it could actually be a de-evolution or a devolution of basically the population. Anybody who chooses to do this likely is risking basically the end of their genetic line, simply because this is totally unaligned with the natural way of life. I mean, especially for the human being. So, if you say you were living in Indian times, right? You're trying to grow a field of corn, and I mean, deer, they can jump about 10 feet high, so they're pretty much going to be able to get through or possibly get through any type of barrier you set up for a cornfield. So, I mean, if you don't kill at least some of these deer some of the time, then they're going to eat your entire cornfield, and you basically have to eat the deer to survive and live optimally. And there's so much meat there. Like, if you have a giant, just say like a huge deer population decides to migrate into your farmlands, if you're an Indian back in the day, right? So you got a whole deer population that migrates into your area. You're gonna have to at least eat some of those deer, because otherwise they're gonna eat all your food and you just aren't gonna be able to survive. So basically, the only way of survival for a long period of time, and definitely at some point, the human population is going to be forced to survive off different meat sources. So it's totally unnatural to not eat meat. Also, you should know that eating meat contributes to brain production, because your brain is pretty much just a bunch of oil and fat and meat, and that's all it is. So if you don't eat any of that stuff, then you're going to have a reduced brain capacity. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's very possible that this whole vegan thing was created because it is bad for your brain, and it's part of, you know, how the elite are trying to depopulate the planet and whatnot. So they're basically trying to reduce your brain production so that you're not intelligent enough to survive. I mean, also, let's pretend that you lived in Alaska and you have a big bear population coming for you. Are you just going to let them eat you? Because they want to eat you. So are you just going to let them take out you and your whole civilization, your children, or are you going to just eat them? Like, that's the natural way of things, like I'm trying to explain. But people right now, they've been sheepily, they've all been sheeple herded towards bad decisions. They pretty much refuse to make good decisions at this point. I mean, people are even drinking fluoridation, or they're drinking fluoride in their water. I mean, this is totally psycho. Also, back in ancient times and all throughout history, we've pretty much had to fight off, or at least somewhat fight off, rats and mice, and the population actually used cats for this purpose. Now, the population seems to think that cats are just basically ornaments or something. They're just supposed to sit there and pretty much look pretty, but I guess the people don't realize that it's natural. Cats and dogs are basically, they're teamed up with the human population. The cats are supposed to eat all the mice and rats from your garden, and the dogs are supposed to possibly chase off, or definitely warn about things that come in the night and stuff like that. So the population isn't really using these tools that we've evolutionarily created, like, you know, the cats and dogs. But also, yeah, so we do also notice that basically people aren't eating as much fruits and vegetables as they should be, because they started eating all these different processed foods. So yeah, people who have gone vegan may be just against all the processed foods that they've eaten in the past and whatnot. And I'm also against basically processed and machine factory bred meat. So yeah, I'm against the factory bred meat and whatnot, and I support free range animals and stuff like that. That is much more natural. I mean, it's just totally disgusting to have to eat a chicken that basically like rotted standing up. I mean, they don't hardly get to move anywhere. They just stand there, eat, and then they're slaughtered. I mean, that's pretty disgusting. So yeah, our entire food source is just attacked. It's pretty crazy, and yes, the appropriate meat portion for people is actually very small, like maybe one, maybe two meals of meat per day. Some people actually seem to eat meat like all day long, and they may just eat a single source of meat. Like, you're pretty much designed to eat eggs. You got chickens, which you should be eating eggs from. Then you've got beef, pork, and fish, and all the different types of meat that you should be eating. I mean, if you're just eating chicken nuggets, then you're only going to be getting factory chickens, which are pumped full of hormones, and then actually chicken nuggets are only made from the chicken breast, so you're only going to be eating the female portion of the chicken nugget. That's right, you're only eating the female portion of the chicken when you eat a chicken nugget, which was stuffed full of hormones. So that could, I honestly believe that this has a great factor in the contribution to people becoming gay, because they're only eating the female portion of the chicken, which was pumped full of hormones. So that about wraps up this video about how being a vegan is definitely unnatural. I would advise against only eating plants and stuff like that. You gotta eat your meat, especially different animals that would naturally invade your space, like deer and bears. The human would have to eat these animals to survive, because it's just such a massive source of food that would eventually, I mean, at some point there's going to be populations of these animals invading your space, and you're going to have to eat them to survive. Or at least that definitely was happening back in the past for thousands of years. So yeah, people who only eat vegan, they could possibly be devolving. They're trying to turn themselves into basically grazing animals like sheep or cows, and this could have been just falsely pushed upon the population for depopulation purposes. John Adams making a video for Death to GMO here. Y'all be sure to make some waves. Signing off.